It's not on yet. All right, now you're good.
Okay, I'm David Sheriff, and our topic was noticing and doing something about the future from little ripples that we might see ahead of that. And this started out as a risk mitigation strategy, noticing that things happened ahead of the event, that if we noticed them, we could make sense of them, and that we might be able to avoid the consequences of the event. We had trouble figuring out exactly what to call this. They were outliers, they were ripples in the stream, they were blinking lights, they were microphenomena. There's a pattern recognition issue here, tuning ourselves to the awareness. And then what also came in here as another idea is that if we take a look at an environment, if we look at an exotic wavelength, we may see emergent phenomena that start to make sense well before these show up in ways that are visible to everyone. And so at that point it's clear, but it may be possible by looking with some kind of mindset, instrument, whatever, at how at what's coming down the road. So we started out with controlling the outcomes, or gently influencing the outcomes, and we were talking about low probability, high impact incidents. And we started to discuss the concept of robustness versus resiliency. And robustness being making the system so it's less and less and less likely to fail. And in this case, this would be more appropriate in a deterministic situation where you had almost everything under control. But if there was a failure, there was still a failure. Versus a resilient environment where the consequences of a failure are not unnecessarily fatal.
I guess where it's useful, it's valuable to have failures to become.
Yeah, lots of people point out that if you do tests where there are no failures, you learn nothing. I mean, it's only the failed tests that teach you anything. Mm-hmm. We talked about quiet presence, mindfulness, perhaps amplifying channels that are undervalued, dampening channels that are overloaded, that we would promote, engage, look for resonance, that we have one big theme was that we have poor skill at understanding the effects of our behavior over time. That of the four dimensions, time is the one that we least well operate in. There's a sense that if we are in fact more attentive to our intentions, we could be more honest, because we, in some way, we know what we're going to do, regardless of what we say we're going to do. So if we could get if we could make this more alignment between what we said and what we thought, things would be visible. But then we talked about the problem of the collective unconscious and the lies that it brings out. The fact that we have inescapably, we represent the values of our culture. Forms this tremendous reality distortion field, and to think outside of it is nearly impossible. Also, that so much of what we experience of life is in isolation. That connectedness is rare. That creating containers for togetherness and collaboration, as this one is somehow can go to counteract the lies, to build shared courage and context. These containers help us sense what's trying to happen. And this is an interesting way to put it. What is trying to happen? As though it's trying to happen on its own. Discovering what those little signs are, what the blinking lights are. Give people more skills as being the new normal.
Okay.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. We covered a lot of ground.